Hi, my name is Kushal and I'm the Director of Marketing and Business Development for Razer Chroma RGB. Razer Chroma is the world's largest lighting ecosystem for gaming devices, with over 20 million active users today. Razer Chroma is available on hundreds of Razer hardware devices and thousands of third-party hardware devices that have integrated Razer Chroma with the singular aim of building a unified RGB lighting experience for the gamer. But what makes Razer Chroma RGB special is the sheer number of games and applications that have been natively integrated and supported by the community. With over 200 such games ranging from the best AAA titles to indie games and countless applications and websites, we truly believe that it is the community that helps create Razer Chroma to make it the world's largest and most immersive lighting ecosystem out there. We believe in an open development platform, and the Razer Chroma SDK allows you to create immersive light shows that can be directly integrated into your respective games or applications and even websites. In the following session, I'd like to introduce you to my colleague Tim. Tim is our lead software engineer, and he will show you how to create and integrate these immersive lighting effects to truly change the way you interact with your devices going forward. Over to you, Tim.
Thanks, Kushal. Hello, developers. This is Tim Graupmann. In this session, I'll show you how to create a Chroma design. We'll create 5 sample Chroma effects from a game trailer. And the design will include effects for Chroma Link, headset, keyboard, keypad, mouse, and mousepad. I'll share the screen while creating the design, so let's see what that looks like now. And to get started, we'll use a template. The template will show some snippets from the game trailer and the Chroma effects like what you see here. Okay, and to get started, we also have a visual API guide. The design guide has the links to the web version of Chroma Editor, and there's links to the various plugin samples. Okay, so we'll be using the Chroma Web Editor later, so I'll keep a tab open to that. We're going to start from a template, so let's look at the Chroma design template. It's just an HTML file. And at the top, make sure to populate the game name. This template has sections to hold the sample effects that we're going to create, and there's a script section below where we'll put our Chroma script. So to set up this template, we're going to need this template and the Chroma common files, which will support this template. And I've done this setup already. So I have the template files and I also have the Chroma common files. I put both the common files and the design template within the same parent folder, and we should be good to go. We also need Node.js, and there's a couple scripts here. So the script install server command will grab the packages for Node.js to host a local server. And then I just run script start server command, which will locally host the template page. And here we go. So this is the design template. We'll be creating 5 of these effects during the session. And so I won't actually need effects 6 through 15. So let's hop over to the design file, and that's the Chroma design HTML. And we'll trim these effects down. So here we go, effects 1 through 15. And we'll use the first 5 sample effects. The rest we can delete here. Okay, and if we go back to the page and refresh, there we go. Okay, so here's 5 effects that we'll be creating. Let's take a look at the game trailer that we'll use to create the effects for. So this time I'll be using Amazing Frog. Here we go. I'll just slice up this game trailer and put it right into the template. Alright, so let's get started with that. So I'll be using Camtasia, which I use to slice up the game trailer and put that into the design. We'll be creating video slices for the design template. I just need to make a new folder here called video. And this is where I'll put the clips from the game trailer. And if we look at the template here, it's expecting the videos to be in the video subfolder. And they get named video 1 through 5. Over in Camtasia, I'll just import the game trailer and drag it down here to the track. And the first thing I do is separate audio and video, because I won't be needing the audio portion. And I can just go ahead and remove the audio track. And there we go. Now we're ready to start slicing. So for the first sample effect, I usually show text of the game title. So I got a little clip of this and hit S to split, and I'll grab a little bit, S to split, and remove the parts I don't need. And now I can share a local file. And for the game design, I only need 720p resolution. Okay, so I'll call this video 1. There's the folder that the template is expecting. I turn off this subfolder option. We just want video to output in the folder and not put in a subfolder. And click finish. And there we go. There's the first clip. And now we can see the design has that first clip. And we're ready to add 4 more clips to the design. For the second sample effect, I can grab Writing a Pig. This will be video_2. For the third clip, I'll use the boxing ring. And the folder and organize options aren't persistent in Camtasia, so I have to keep setting those each time. I also want to grab a running cycle here, so that's video_4. And for the 5th clip, I'll use the scooter. Here we go. And that's video_5. Okay, we're done with Camtasia. Refresh the design. Okay, and these are the 5 clips that we'll use to create Chroma effects. Okay, for the first effect, it'll be scrolling text. So for scrolling text, I use Unity. And the Unity plugin has scene13_text, which has a capture setup for grabbing text. And here we can put in a name for the game. So I'll add spaces between each letter for Amazing Frog. I do 2 spaces between words. Okay, and that's our text. So you can see that the new text game object has a script on it. It's the Chroma translate over time script, which will cause the text to scroll across the keyboard capture area. I'll put text into its starting position. Text is in the right place. It'll capture the text as a keyboard Chroma animation, and I'll name it title_keyboard. And as soon as I click start, it will start capturing, and I can turn the script on, and that'll move the text across the capture area. So you can see it's capturing here. Once it's finished scrolling across, I can hit the stop button. Okay, and stop. I can turn off the script, and now we're done with Unity. And I'll want to copy the animation that it created. So in streaming assets, here's the title_keyboard Chroma file that the capture tool just created. I'll copy that and put it over here with the template. So templates are expecting animations in an animations subfolder. I'll create the new folder, call it animations, and I can paste that right in. Okay, here we are, done with Unity. And I won't need to use the streaming assets folder anymore, so we're done with that. And if we refresh the page, we won't see any effects yet because we still need to add the script that will play the effect that we just captured. So that will bring us to the Chroma editor. And here we need to generate the script effect for number 1. Copy script works for several modes. Click the button for design mode, and now we can just click copy script. And that will generate the Chroma code for effect number 1. Now we go over to the template, and down in the section where it says set up all Chroma effects, we can paste in the script. Okay, so this created sample code for keypad, mouse, mousepad, headset, Chroma Link, and keyboard is the first one. And I'll make one change here because we called it title_keyboard. And if we save that and go back to the design page, now we can see the scrolling text across the keyboard. Now it's going a little fast. We'll fix that in a minute. We also want to have effects for the other devices. So we'll use the web Chroma editor for that. Now we use the video capture feature of the editor. So if we go back to our design template, I usually use a couple folders here. We'll use animations, and that's where we download the files to, and video for creating the animation files. And we can take this video clip and drag it to the Chroma editor, which will automatically play the video clip, so we can capture it for an effect. And as long as we're on HTTPS, we can drag and drop the video to the drag and drop control, and that'll work. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is set up the widgets for where the editor is capturing. The capture widgets are actually click and draggable. The widgets can be moved and resized. So when you first load, they'll be in different spots. And what I tend to do is line them up in the center. So I'll just drag these to about the same spot. And there we go. You can also adjust the transparency of the widgets here. This will be the capture area. Okay, and this tool uses a canvas to record. You can translate the canvas, you can rotate it, you can scale it. So we'll be using these features as we create the various effects. You can also reset the transforms here. I can transform the canvas from the buttons over here, or while the mouse button is down on the canvas. You can use keyboard shortcuts to switch between the tools. So T for transform, R for rotate, S for scale while the mouse is down. For this effect, the default scale of the text is going to work. Okay, and I just want to record the colors of the Amazing Frog text, so that while the scrolling text is working, we'll have some similar colors happening for the other devices. Okay, so another keyboard shortcut I can use is F2, and that will toggle the recording. I can use the start and stop buttons over here too. And I'll just record the Amazing Frog text scrolling across the device, and then kind of start and stop about the same spot. And there we go. So we've recorded 180 frames. Okay, and let's download the first effect. And this will go right into the design template in the animations folder. And I can save the zip file. And if we look at the animations folder, we have our title Keyboard Chroma. And I can just right click and extract the zip file. I use 7-zip, and you can use the Windows Archiver or WinRAR or whatever your preferred compression tool is. And once it's extracted, you no longer need the zip file. And we go back to our Chroma design, and there we go. Now we have the effects playing for all the devices, but you can see everything is really fast right here. We can adjust that in script. So if we go to the design code, we have a section here for each device. In the template code, we have reduce frames, which reduces the number of frames the effect is playing. And we just have an extra one. If we just remove reduce frames from each effect, that will slow things down. Let's remove the extra call to reduce frames from each device. So go through and save that. And that's a lot better for the scrolling text and the different devices. It looks more smooth now. For the text though, we can do one more thing, which is to make the text look more like a video clip with the purple and green. So to adjust that, we can do that in code using the API. So if we go to the keyboard effect, we can use a couple different API calls. So we'll use a color variable, and if you use the Chroma Animation API, you'll get an RGB color. Let's start with purple or magenta, and for the second color, we'll set that to green. Okay, and now we can apply these colors to the animation. So there's a call we can use, and it's called multiply target color lerp all frames. Okay, and it has an argument for the animation that it's affecting. So we'll use base layer for that, and then it takes two colors. So we'll pass the first and second color. Okay, save, and we can take a look at this. So once we add the call to multiply target color lerp all frames, it becomes available in the design editor. When we click on the keyboard, we'll get a couple different color pickers for the two different colors. So we can add to the contrast by making the purple color a little bit darker, so it's easier to see the green text that's scrolling by. And you can also adjust the green color to make it a little more white to make it stand out more on the physical hardware. And as you use the color pickers, it's automatically updating the code. So we can copy and paste the new colors and put it right back into the design. And once we save that, when the page reloads, it will reload with the new colors. One thing I'll add to the scrolling text sample is we can have hotkeys on the keyboard. So I'll show the WASD keys in yellow, and we can do that again through script. Okay, so we want to add the WASD keys in the keyboard effect. The first thing we need is an array of keys. So we'll make a key array, and we'll add to the key array by adding the rzkey.rzkey_w. So we'll want the W, A, S, and D keys, and we'll want to assign a color to those. We'll use a color variable, and we'll want to set the color to yellow. The set keys color all frames method takes the base layer, the keys we're going to change, and the color we're going to change them to. Now we can see the WASD keys are in yellow on top of the animation that is scrolling by. And there we go. So there's the scrolling text sample animation. Next we should customize some things on the template. We need to change the text of each effect, and we haven't even set the game name yet. Let's update those. The game name should be Amazing Frog. Okay, for the effects, we have a clip for the pig. There's the boxing ring, the running cycle, and the scooter. And now that we name the effects, that looks better. Now for the pig animation, we'll go back to the editor. And this time we're working on effect number 2. We'll use the pig video clip. Okay, so there we go. Let's look at the clip. And in this case, the best way to see there's a pig on the keyboard is to use a panning effect. To do a panning effect, let's pause the animation, and we can use the time scrubber here. And we'll use looking at the pig from the side to create the animation. Okay, so that looks good. Let's bring the widgets back, and here you can see the keyboard, and there's the pig. Now in this case, it might be hard to tell that it's a pig, so we can scale up the image, and the larger it gets, the more you can start to see the detail of what you're looking at. So if we do something like this, you'll be able to tell it's a pig. Okay, so we'll want to start the animation here, kind of pan around and return to the same spot that the capture started, and that'll be the effect. So here we go. Hit F2 to start the capture, pan around, and make sure to get the feet, return back to the same spot, and hit F2 to stop the capture. The animation captured 243 frames, so that should be good. Let's download the animation and see how it looks. I'll extract to see the animation. We'll want to copy the script and add it to the template. Okay, so we'll want to paste the script at the end, save that, and reload the design. Okay, that looks pretty good. It might be running a little too fast, so we can adjust that through the script again by removing one of those extra reduce frame calls. So we have a lot of frames because the editor is capturing at 30 frames a second. So this reduce frames adjusts the timing. Yes, you can definitely see there's a pig there. The animation loops, but it has a small offset, and that makes it look glitchy. And we want to start and stop at exactly the same spot. Let's do it one more time just to make sure. We'll start on the pig's ear, like right at the top right of the numpad. Okay, and use F2 to start the capture, pan around the pig, and hit F2 to stop, with the pig's ear right at that same spot, at that numpad. Okay, download that. Okay, and there we go. There's a pig animation that loops, and it's pretty smooth, and we can always make adjustments in a future iteration. Let's call that good and move on to the ring effect. This time we're working on effect number 3. We'll use video_3. Just like the pig, we'll pause the playback for this one, and I can just pan along the rope lines of the ring. And just make sure I start and stop at the same spot. Here we go. Press F2 to record, and just pan along the ring, and just make sure to end at the same spot. Okay, and click download, extract files, and we're done with the zip. And we want to copy the script, add that to the end of the design, and paste that in. Save and reload the design, and there we go. So we have a looping ring animation. So that looks good. For the next one, we'll do a running cycle for the frog. So back to the editor. This will be effect number 4. We'll use the 4th video clip. At this scale, it's hard to see what's going on. We can adjust the playback speed, and we'll want to scale this up. There we go. Okay, and we can use a little bit of the automation tools. So I'll leave the video playback going. If I check this box, frame cap at video in, when I hit reset, it will automatically reset the video, start capturing, and when it hits the end of the video, it will stop capturing. Okay, so now we have an animation with 67 frames. Slow it down a little bit more. We usually want to aim for an animation with something around 100 frames. Maybe 20% playback speed. There we go, 130 frames. We can always remove frames. Adding frames is a little harder. Okay, so that should be good. Copy the script, so this is effect number 4, and paste it at the end of the script. Okay, we also want to download the animation, save that, and now we can extract effect number 4. Extract here. You can tell they're skinny frog legs. One thing we can do here, the same way we colorize the text on scrolling text, is maybe we can use the same mechanism to make the legs stand out a little bit better. Because we're looking at an animation that's gray on gray, it can be a little hard to see. So if we go back to the script and go back to the scrolling text effect, we can copy the color lerping code, and that'll go into effect number 4, and we apply the color lerp after reducing the frames. With that, now it has a green background with gray instead of just gray on gray. We can also use the color picker to try and make it stand out more. This part will take a little bit of tweaking to get the colors just right. And there we go. So this way there's just a little more of a color tint, so it's a brighter background and a little bit of a darker tint for the green on the frog legs. We just need to copy the same color lerp code to all the devices for this effect. Okay, so let's move on to the scooter effect. So back in the editor, this is effect number 5. We'll use the video clip and drag that to the drag and drop control. Okay, and it's got the old playback speed, so let's adjust the playback speed. And while it's animated, you can kind of tell on the keyboard that it's a scooter. We can always scale up. Having the scooter move side to side, it might be difficult to see that it's a scooter. If we pause, we can pan and treat this like a sprite effect on the keyboard. At the beginning of the clip, there's a view of the scooter from directly in front, and that can work. It can be scaled up, and the larger it gets, the more you can see it as a sprite. And you can pretty much tell it's a frog on a scooter, just like that. I'll pan starting at the bottom, use F2 to start the capture, and just pan the frog like that. Hit F2 to end capturing. And 176 frames is a decent amount. We just need to copy the script for effect number 5. Okay, and save that. If we download and extract the animation and reload the page, we can see how it looks. And I wasn't sure about the speed with the panning, but that seems plenty fast. One thing you can see here is it's not looping right because panning starts at the bottom. And when the clip loops the animation, it's immediately back at the bottom. You can just tell it's not looping smoothly. So we can fix that with the API. There's a call we can make called duplicate mirror frames, which takes the base layer. The duplicate mirror frames function appends a reversed copy of the animation to the end of itself to make the animation loop. Let's see what that looks like. It pans all the way to the top, and it reverses and goes back to the bottom. And now we have a looping chroma effect. The frog is moving a little fast, so we can use the API to adjust that as well. So instead of reducing frames by removing every second frame, we can reduce every third frame. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And just to synchronize all the different devices, let's make sure all the device events match. So they play at the same speed and also do the mirroring. And that's good for the scooter effect. Okay, so there we go. We have a chroma design, and we just created 5 sample effects. The effects were created using a game trailer. From the game trailer, we sliced 5 different clips, and those clips were used to record chroma animations using the web chroma editor. And with a little bit of script, we could customize the colors, change the playback speed, and using the API, we were able to mirror the animation so that we get a smooth looping animation. Okay, for this design, is a small set of features available in the animation API. If you want to know more about it, take a look at the Chroma animation guide. And here you'll see a visual guide for all the different things that you can do with the API. When I mention the Chroma design guide or the Chroma animation guide, I'm talking about the same thing. It's the same visual guide. Okay, and with the Chroma design, you can do the next step, which is the animation and script from this page can easily be converted to your engine of choice. Also, the design code can be adapted to even run on a web page. That's the nice thing about the design template, is that it's already running in a web page. If I click on the numbers that are next to each effect, they'll actually play these effects on your hardware. And back when we had the design editor open and we were using the color pickers and changing the code, that will also cause the effect to play on your hardware. That way you can look at the colors and get the colors just right on your physical hardware. In this part of the session, I'll show you how to convert a Chroma design into code that can integrate with a game engine. We'll start from a completed Chroma design with 15 sample effects, and in this case we'll use the design for the game Stellaris Federations. I'll show you how to port from the design over to C++ for custom engines, over to Unity, and over to Unreal. And we'll do this for PC and Xbox. I'll share my screen and let's get started. The first thing we want to do is go over the Chroma design guide, and you'll see a link to this Chroma design converter. That takes the Chroma design script from the Chroma design and output sample code. We'll use the C++ output first in the C++ sample app. So for the Chroma design, I use the Chroma design template again. So our code will be in the Chroma design HTML file, and the animations are in the animations folder, and we run this through the converter. Go to the Chroma design file, and within the setup all Chroma effects function, this is where all the Chroma code lives. We want to copy the contents of that function, so all the way from show effect 1 to the end of that function. And this is the code that we'll port, and we copy that to the clipboard, and that's going to run in the Chroma design converter. Now this is a C# app, and it takes sample JavaScript as input. To output game code, we replace all of the existing sample code from the sample JavaScript file and paste in our Chroma code. There's 15 sample effects, and inside of program C#, we set the effect count to the 15 effects from the Chroma design, and we can just run the console app from within Visual Studio with Control and F5. The console app will run and convert all the code. And now we can go and open the output folder. And within the output folder, you'll see an output CPP file, so for C++, and that's what we have here. It took the sample JavaScript and converted it over to C++ code. And it's in this nice region where we can just copy, and we'll go over to the C++ sample app project. And within sample CPP, right at the top here, there's also an auto-generated region. So we can just remove the old region and paste our auto-generated code right here. And for max selection, we just set that to 15. And there'll be some warnings because there's some extra things in the switch statement. We can just remove everything after the case 15 label. And the ported code is expecting some animations. A lot of these animations are actually part of the Chroma common code, so they're already part of the sample app. There are some animations that are specific to the design that will need to be copied over. Just to isolate those animations, I'll rename everywhere it's looking for, in quotes, animations. I'll call that design animations and put that in a separate folder. Okay, so we're going to need a design animations folder. We just want to create a new folder and call it design animations, and just copy the animations from the design template over to this folder. And now we should be ready to run. Okay, so now we use the Chroma emulator to make sure that the effects from C++ match with what we had in the design. So for the first effect, we had scrolling text, and then there's a pulsar effect, there's a dwarf star, a blue giant star, an effect for the action, and I can cycle through each of these animations and make sure it matches with what the Chroma design has. And if there's any missing animations, we'll see it in the console log. And for the last 11 through 15, everything looks good. Okay, so we ported the entire design over to C++. The next thing to do would be to take a look at the C++ Chroma game loop sample. And in this sample, it shows you some important things. It's showing you how to run multiple animations at the same time, while also showing hotkeys on top of that. Another part of the sample shows how to directly access the arrays from the animation to dynamically do effects and blend everything together. So take a look at that. One other thing that the design converter does is that it will convert the input sample JavaScript over to Xbox XDK code. And for that sample, in your output folder, there's an XDK CPP, and this is your Chroma code ported over to XDK for the Xbox. To use this in a sample project, you're going to need to reach out to the Razer Partnerships team to get the sample code. This does fall under access to ID at Xbox. Okay, so that's a bit about C++. Now let's port the Chroma design over to Unity. Okay, so part of the Unity sample, there are 3 different scenes. The scene_sample app scene is a port of the Chroma design guide over to Unity. Here we go. Here's all 47 sample effects. There's the scene_sample game loop scene, which shows how to play multiple effects at the same time. It has the direct array access, showing the hotkeys on top of multiple effect layers. And there's this scene_game sample scene template. The game sample has 15 different buttons to make sure you are properly ported over to Unity. Okay, so let's do that now. Back in the design converter, one of the steps was to port the C++ code over to Unity. So there's a Unity C# script in the output folder. There we go, Unity C#, and here's the auto-generated code for the port of the Chroma design over to Unity. Okay, so over in Visual Studio, you have the game sample C# script, and we will be copying the auto-generated code right into the sample. I'll just copy the code and put it right into here. So just like C++, we'll need to copy the animations folder into the streaming assets folder, and we can pick where we want to place these. Last time we put those in design animations, so let's do that again. So we can replace, in quotes, animations and match case, and wherever it sees animations, we can have it look in design animations and replace all those. For our design animations, okay, so that looks good. The common files are already here, and our custom design animations will be in this folder. Okay, so back in Unity, you can right-click Streaming Assets and Show and Explore. And within Streaming Assets, you can make a new folder for Design Animations. And we can copy these over from the design template. So when you switch back to Unity, it will import the animations. And when we hit play, as we click each button, it will play each effect. There's the scrolling text and the various effects ported over to Unity. And as before, it's always great to visually inspect each effect to make sure it looks how it did in the design. Once you get to your game integration, where you link these to different in-game events for jumping and attacking and hotkeys at the same time, that's when you want to follow the game loop sample, so you can see how to blend all those together. Next, let's cover the Unity plugins. Okay, so here we go. Within the plugins subfolder, you'll find a set of DLLs. And the plugins subfolder is a special folder. The way each plugin is used is different depending on the version of Unity that you have. So for Unity 3, it picks up the DLL from the plugin subfolder. In later versions of Unity, the engine switched to picking up files from the x86 and x64 folders, and this is for native plugins. So x86 is the 32-bit version, and x64 is the 64-bit version. Okay, and there's one more plugin to talk about, and that's for Xbox support. So for Xbox, you'll need the XDK Chroma Editor Library DLL, which goes into your plugins folder. To get this DLL, again, you'll want to reach out to the Razer Partnerships team to be able to use this DLL, and you need to be in the ID at Xbox program. You'll need to reach out to your ID at Xbox account manager. You'll get access to the special section of the Unity forums where you'll find the download links for the Unity toolset, and that'll let you publish your Xbox games to the Xbox. But as far as the other code, it's cross-platform, so all the Chroma code will work on PC and Xbox. The only thing you'll need to do is drop in this DLL and you're good to go. So that's a little bit about Unity, so let's go on to the next game engine, and that will be Unreal. Okay, so for the Unreal plugin, in your content folder, let's go to the levels subfolder and open up the sample app level. Okay, and run that. And here's the familiar sample app. So what we have here is all 47 effects ported from the Chroma design guide over to Unreal. And as you click each of these buttons, it will play those effects. An important one to look at would be effect 47, which shows how to embed Chroma animations into your code so you don't have to deal with putting animations in your content folder. That's not a requirement, but you can if you want. And also part of the sample levels is the game loop sample. This is the same game loop sample, which shows you how to do direct access to the Chroma animation arrays, so you can set effects directly. And the example shows you how to have multiple animations blended together with a hotkey layer on top of that. Let's go over to the sample game level, which has the 15 button setup, so that we can port the Chroma design over to Unreal. Okay, and if we look at the code, there's the sample game Chroma blueprint, CPP, that exposes our Chroma code to blueprints. This is where we copy and paste the auto-generated code from the design converter. So let's go over to the design converter. One of the steps here is to convert the C++ code over to Unreal 4, and that automatically will generate the blueprint code from our sample C++ code. Okay, so let's rerun this as sample game with 15 effects, and then it will match our Unreal script. And let's look at what we just generated with the Chroma design converter. Okay, so we want the sample game files here. Okay, so this is 4 different files, a couple files for a sample blueprint library, and there's a set of files for handling UI button click events. You saw in the sample app there was 47 buttons, and the game sample has 15 buttons. And this just reduces the amount of blueprints that we need to hook up in that sample. Essentially the code is just checking, did you click on a button named this, run example 1, 2, 3, and so on. So it generates that code for you. And as far as the blueprint goes, it's generated a little sample hook so you can just drop in an array of buttons and it sets up the click events for you. There's the sample game start code, which calls the Chroma init for you. There's the sample game sample end code, which you call at end play, so it uninits Chroma. And there's blueprint functions for each of the design sample effects. Okay, so in this sample game blueprint code, I just need to copy the auto-generated code right here. And we'll copy this over to the Unreal project. And we'll just replace the auto-generated region with this content. Okay, and here are the sample effects, and I'll just make one change to the first set of effects, and that'll be where to find some of these animations. So blank underscore keyboard and black and white rainbow underscore keyboard are part of the Chroma common set, so it's already in the animations folder. And sample game animations will be where we copy the animations from the Chroma design template. And I'll want to make this folder change for each of the effect number 1 sample effects. So that's actually part of the common files. And that should be all of them. Okay, so I can build this in Visual Studio. And while that's building within our Unreal content folder, you need to copy the animations to the expected place. So it wants to have the animations in sample game animations. So I'll create a folder for that. Okay. And I'll copy the animations from the design template over to the expected folder. Okay, and we should be able to test this out as soon as it's done building. Okay, and we have one minor scope issue, and that's just to put the hotkeys and the color for the hotkeys inside of a block. So we set an array of keys to be set to red, and just make sure that within this little section that they can be set. So I'll just build again, and with that change, everything built okay. Let's go look in Unreal and open the level called Sample Game Level. Okay, and we'll play this and we can click through and make sure all the effects look right. You can see the hotkeys are showing properly. That was the one manual thing we fixed from the automated porting code. And here's the different effects from the design. So there we go. Everything is looking good. We have the 15 sample effects from the Chroma design. It plays within Unreal. Okay, so we are good on the PC side of things. To get Unreal building for Xbox, we need to be part of the ID at Xbox program. You need to reach out to your ID at Xbox account manager and get Epic access to the toolset for Unreal. And once you have that installed, you'll need to reach out to the Razer Partnerships team, and there will be this Razer Chroma SDK64 DLL that you copy into your binaries Xbox One folder. All your existing Chroma script is Xbox and PC compatible, and you're ready to go. Your next step would be to go and review the game loop sample again and see how to do multiple animations at the same time. You'll go into your game code and find various game events to tie into the Chroma effects so that you can control when everything is playing. And there you go. So that's the process. So you can take a Chroma design and port over to C++ for custom engines. You can take the Chroma design and port to Unity. You can take the Chroma design and port that to Unreal. And you can make all that work for PC and Xbox. If you have any questions about the port process, you can always reach out to the Razer Partnerships team. That's the end of this session, and thanks for watching. Now let's watch some partner content to show how they did their Chroma integrations.
Light and color. They drive our emotions, yet we all see them differently. This is the basis of life and the basis of art. Can a game open our eyes to new ways of seeing the world, of seeing art, of seeing light and color itself? The digital world is changing. Its growth is exponential, with creativity flourishing across the metaverse. Today, we are all artists, and our works travel across the globe via light and color. New ways of seeing the red, green, and blue in all of us are just a couple clicks away. Innovation cannot happen without relationships, and a connected world requires connected artists. Everything is defined through relationships. Relationships between loved ones, between humanity and nature, or even between code and art. Razer Chroma bridges worlds, helping developers like Lantana Games connect with their audience by harnessing the power of 16.8 million colors. Even engines like ClickTeam Fusion can access Chroma RGB through visual scripting to create new paradigms of light and color. The creators of today are building the connected world of tomorrow. Art has always been a driving force of innovation. The future of light and color is in the hands of creatives around the world. We all have the power to be creative.
Reactor online. Sensors online. Weapon online. All systems phenomenal. Heat critical. System offline.
I was 3. It was April of 1983. We followed. You all remember. There was no turning away. It advanced, almost like slowly until, well, found us, each of us. We should tell these stories because, well, it saved us, and there must be.
Hello, I'm Joe. I'm the developer of The Fabled Woods. I wanted to show you today how I used blueprints with the Razer Chroma plugin to bring The Fabled Woods to life outside the screen. I built a blueprint called Chroma Controller. This allowed me to keep all Razer Chroma functions into one singular blueprint and gave me the ability to change the lighting at any point in the game without spreading the blueprint nodes across multiple blueprints. Here you can see the custom event I made for the opening of the game. The game starts with all lights set to 0 and then fades into the color of the sun in the world. This is done by simply using a timeline to lerp from 0 to the color of the directional light. In the Fabled Woods, there's a remembering mechanic that turns the world blood red. With the help of Razer Chroma, we can actually bring that experience into the real world as well. This really brings the immersion factor up a notch, and it allows players to feel like they're actually doing what's in the game. If you have any questions or would like to reach out, you can find me on Twitter at JoeBowersCPS. I would like to thank Razer for this opportunity and for all of the help I've received from them. Stay safe and take care, everybody.
Hi, my name is Original. I'm the lead developer of Firelight, and I'm gonna be showing you today how I use the Razer Chroma API to create smart effects for two very popular games, Fortnite and Rocket League. Let's get started. So how does it work? Let's take a look. So for these two games, I decided to capture the screen and look for certain game events. This way, I can capture information such as health that I wouldn't have access to otherwise. Here, for example, I'm analyzing certain pixels on the screen to have a general idea of what the player health might be. Once I get an approximate number, I'll be using the Razer Chroma C# API to have a lot of flexibility and low-level control over the whole lineup of Chroma compatible devices. As you can see here, an animation frame is composed of data for every kind of device, and this allows for great flexibility when designing integrations for different games or apps. In fact, with the same Chroma lighting controller, I made an entirely different integration for Rocket League, which, by the way, let's check it out. Thank you for watching, and if you have any questions, check us out on GitHub and feel free to join our Discord where you can easily reach out, and stay tuned for the next updates. Have a great day and stay safe.
Hello again, this is Tim Graupmann. Before we go into the making of Chroma-enabled trailers, let's look at an example of what such a thing can look like. And now, from the Bearded Ladies Consulting, here is Mutant Year Zero.
The Ark is humanity's last outpost. Within these walls, we help each other create a new civilization with the guidance of our leader, the Elder. He relies on stalkers, adventurers who leave the Ark, explore the zone, and scavenge for precious resources. Stalkers have to be more than human. That's me, Mr. More Than Human, aka a mutant. I look weird to you, but hey, you look weird to me. Our mission, he says, is a man, and that man is Hammond.
Hammond was a strange one. He thought he could find answers to life in the zone.
Find Hammond and bring him back alive.
Finally, there's a way out of this crazy city.
Sign us up for a suicide mission, Mr. Elder. This is insane. Your boy Hammond better be worth it.
The fate of the Ark depends on it.
You get to die. I have to live for all eternity.
Oh, fantastic.
I see stalkers! Get the first one!
Did you forget there's like a gajillion ghouls out here who want to kill us?
Any of them ever look like us? Like mutants?
It doesn't seem the slightest bit strange to you that both of us can't remember our past.
Guess that's typical for mutants like us.
Finding out who we are sounds like the quest of a lifetime.
If Hammond thinks there's an Eden, there's an Eden. Believe me. And we can work together.
Seriously?
Well, hello.
Let's get to it. Come on!
Hiya, boys!
Give me a fucking break.
No, please stop. Are you in need of a funeral director? Bye-bye.
Not today! I'm taking you with me!
big whoop. I got the feathers pulled out of me.
Shut the duck up and keep moving.
You know, I ask myself, ducks, why are you out here?
So annoying.
Let's continue. In this session, I'll show you how to make a Chrome-enabled trailer. The page can be an app, game, or movie trailer, and the page will have chroma effects that are synchronized to the time index of the trailer. Let's begin, and I'll share my screen. Alright, to get started, we'll use the web version of the Chroma editor, and we'll also use one of the templates that are part of the Chroma design templates. There'll be a Chroma_trailer HTML template, and there's script open Chroma trailer command script that will open up the trailer, assuming you have the Node.js modules installed. The script will open a local server, so let's take a look at the Chroma enabled trailer script. So here we have a video element and it has a source. Under video it takes an MP4 file. So let's get that ready. In this case I'll use the Big Buck Bunny video trailer. Big Buck Bunny is licensed under the Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Here's a link to where I downloaded it. So this will be a 720p trailer, and we'll use that for creating the chroma effects. Now run the script open Chroma trailer command script, and that will open up the Chroma enabled trailer template. And this will be the page we use to not only show the video, but also play the chroma effects. Now we need to design some chroma effects. So we can go over to the Chroma editor, and I can take the same video, and I can take the Big Buck Bunny video, and drag and drop into the field here. And once that loads, we'll have a 720p trailer that we can capture from and generate the scripts for the template. The web version of the Chroma editor has some playback controls, so we can pause the video and unpause. There's a nice field here that we use that displays the video time that we can copy and paste to schedule when the chroma effects will play. There's also a nice slider here so you can fast forward through the trailer and find the spot where you want to play the chroma effect. And there are various languages that we can output scripts for. In our case, we will want to use the trailer option, and we can use this to generate the script that the trailer will use. For example, here if we wanted to have a chroma script play an effect at 68.3 seconds, we can use copy script and save that generated script right into the clipboard. Alright, so this automatically generated the effects for keypad, mouse, mousepad, headset, Chroma Link, and keyboard. This has automatically populated the time index for when this effect will play. Let's undo this and actually generate some scripts that we will use to play with the trailer. Okay, so the first thing would be the opening scene. So when the trailer starts, it pans from the pink down to the forest, green, and right about there. So I could record an effect of the colors panning from the pink over to this forest green area. Now the scale transform tool could work for the effect if I scale this up for the panning effect. There we go, if I want to have more of the forest details in the effect. And we can capture with start and stop as before. Start will begin the capture, stop will end the capture, and the frame count will show how many frames we captured. And if I just click on the canvas and drag to puppeteer the effect that we're going for, I'll record the vertical panning effect. So I just hit F2 on the keyboard and just pan the image down and go all the way to the green grass below the forest. Alright, there we go. And kind of end right about there. Okay, so I've captured 450 frames while I was panning. The editor can generate the chroma script for effect number 1 for the trailer option. And click copy script, and that will put the script into the clipboard. And switch back to the template, and we can paste that in. Okay, so this has automatically generated the script for the devices and populated in the time that it was set to. In this case, since it's the first effect, we can just start the effect at the beginning, so 0. We have the option when the animation is played to loop or not. I'll just go with the default looping and save that change. Alright, before we look at the trailer template, let's download the animation files that it's going to play. And in the Chroma design template under animations, I'll download the zip file for this effect. Okay, so I downloaded the zip file of the effects and right click extract here. And we're done with the zip file, so we can delete it. Now I can refresh the trailer page, and I also open the emulator so you can see what is appearing on the device hardware. So now when the trailer starts up, it's playing the panning effect, and it'll pan down to the green and stop on the green grass. And that's what I wanted. Okay, so now we can move on to the next effect. I could do an effect for the stream, so I can record with the video playing, or I can do more of this panning thing, which I do when the video is paused. I might just pan over the stream, going back and forth a few times as the effect. Okay, yeah, let's do that. So I'll hit F2 to record, and that'll start capturing, and I'll just follow the path of the stream. I'll just pan 2 times, and that should be enough to get us to the title screen. Okay, so when we're done panning, hit F2 to stop capturing, and we were able to capture 779 frames. So that's a good amount. Download the animation and save it, and I'll just leave the emulator open so you can see what's showing on the hardware. Okay, so back to the animations folder and extract those animations. Okay, so we're good there. Now we just need the script for effect number 2 and the trailer template, and switch back to the trailer code and add it to the bottom. Okay, save that, and you saw the emulator went dark because there's code in the template. For when the page loses focus, they automatically shut off Chroma. And when a page gains focus, it turns the Chroma back on. Okay, so here we have our trailer, and I'll hit F5 to reload. And here we go. Here's the transition, and you can see the stream. Okay, and it did switch to the stream, but we can set the time index better by putting in the right time index. So the stream can start playing. I'll use a 12 for the time index. Above effect number 2, we have the time there, and I'll just put in 12.0. Okay, go back to the trailer template and refresh. Okay, if we play at 8 seconds, we can see the transition to the stream animation. And we can move on to the next effect. We'll do a bird thing. Effect number 3 will be the bird getting knocked down. We can capture directly from the unpaused video. If we enter a time for the video start and video end, we can use the automation to capture during that interval. I'll enter 16 seconds for the start and 22.27 and some change for the end. Okay, and turn on the option for frame cap at video end. So when I click the reset button, it'll automatically capture, and it'll copy the frames across this time span. We captured 194 frames. I'll download the animation and save that. We extract the animations from the zip and delete the zip after that. Copy the script for the trailer template. Again, add the script to the end. Okay, so at the start of effect number 3, let's set it to 16.0. Save and refresh the template. And let's see how the template looks. Start the playback around 11 seconds. Okay, and there's the stream. And let's see where the bird comes in. The bird animation was a little late. Let's actually go for just a little bit earlier, like 15.0 seconds. Save and reload the page. Again, we set the playback time to just before the transition, so we can make sure it looks right. And that does seem to look right. Let's go on to effect number 4, and we'll do something for the title screen. We can reset some of the settings like the start and end capture times. For this effect, we should be able to pan around the title. We could also increase the scale to make the letters scroll large across the keyboard. We can also rotate the video, and the large letters are still readable on the keyboard. In this case, the large letters have a good contrast, making the effect readable for a Big Buck Bunny. The letters can pan. Okay, so this will be effect number 4. Hit F2 on the keyboard to start capturing, and I'll just pan over the title. Okay, and when I'm done panning, I'll hit F2 to stop the capture. And 767 is a good amount of frames with the title showing for several seconds. Let's download the animations for effect number 4. Save that to the animations folder. We can copy the Chroma script, paste in the code at the end of the script, and at the top of the effect, set the time index to 23.0 seconds. Over in the animations folder, we can extract the effects from the zip file. With everything saved, let's reload the page and see what it looks like. And we can see the transition to the Big Buck Bunny text. Okay, so on to effect number 5. Let's see if we can make the bunny show on the keyboard. We can do an animation where it's panning again on the bunny nose and face. We can keep it panning towards the center of his face and hit F2 to capture. I'll just go on to his eyes, to the nose, to the right eye, get his mouth a little bit, and then back to the nose. Okay, and hit F2 to stop capturing, and it should loop just like that. Okay, so that should be good. Okay, download and extract from the Effect 5 zip, and we'll copy the script as soon as we set the time for it. And let's reset the transform so we can see. We'll use 32.0 as the time index and copy the script. Add that to the trailer template and save. Okay, reload the page, and there's the title text. There's the bunny. Okay, so that looks good. Let's go on to effect number 6. This time we can capture the bunny from below with the blue sky above him. This will be effect number 6. Okay, and scale up the transform so that we can focus on his face. The Chroma editor has buttons to start and stop the capture. I tend to use the keyboard shortcuts. So I'll hit F2 to start capturing the mouth and pan up to the sky. And an animation like that should be able to loop. F2 to stop capturing. Okay, so download that to the animation folder. The trailer can start playing the effect around 50 seconds. I'll click copy script and add that to the trailer template and save that. Make sure to extract the animations and we can get rid of the zip file. Refresh the page and we'll go to around 50 seconds. And then the next effect can be flowers. The flowers will be effect number 7. The effect should start around 64 seconds. And as a sprite, the transform should be scaled up. Okay, so flowers look really good when they're zoomed in, so let's do that. Panning on the flowers will be like the wind is blowing and the flowers are moving around. And we can capture that kind of movement. Okay, and hit F2 on the keyboard to start the capture. And we'll pan as though the flower is moving. And just make sure we end at the same spot that we started from. Okay, and F2 to stop the capture. And download the Effect 7 animation. Make sure to extract the animations from the zip, and we're done with the zip. Now we can use the time index of 63 seconds and copy the script for effect number 7. Paste it at the end of our template and save that. Refresh the trailer template and set the playback to 50 seconds. We can see the bunny animation, that loops a couple times, and then there's the flower animation. Okay, so that's good. We can move on to the next effect. This will be effect number 8. This will be another one of those panning effects. We can pan to a few different points on the butterfly. Okay, so here's effect 8. Use F2 to start the capture. Let's pan again to simulate the movement of the butterfly. We start and end at the center of the butterfly. Use F2 to end the capture. Download the animation and save it. And remember to extract the animation. Once you've done that, we're done with the zip file. The butterfly appears around 75 seconds. Alright, so copy the script and add that to the end of the template. Save that and we'll see how it looks. We can see the flower, and following the flower, there's the butterfly. Okay, so that looks good for effect number 8. The apple will be the next effect at 90 seconds. For this effect, we can zoom in on the apple tree and pan on the apples. So we can scale up to get to the sprite level so that we can see the individual apples within the apple tree. We'll see a lot of green and you can tell those are apples. And that'll be perfect. Okay, so F2 to capture, and we'll slowly pan from the sky across the apples and back to the blue sky. We use F2 to end the capture, download the animation, extract the animations, and we're done with the zip file. We can play the apple tree effect around 83 seconds. Copy the script and add it to the end of the template. Save that and reload the page. We can see the nice butterfly, it lands, and then immediately it's showing the apple tree. Yeah, I think that works. Okay, on to the next effect. The bunny picks up the apple, and we can use that. Let's zoom in and transform to focus on the apple. Scale the apple so we can pan across it while the bunny carries the apple. Hit F2 to start capturing, and we can rotate around the apple a little bit to kind of mimic the bunny carrying the apple. And that should be able to loop a few times while the bunny is carrying the apple. Okay, and hit F2 again to end capturing. And now we can download the animation file and save it. Extract the animations and we're done with the zip file. We can start playing the animation around 95 seconds. Copy the script and paste it at the end of the template. Save that and we can see how it looks. Again, we see the butterfly, it gets squished by the apple, and we show the apple tree. The bunny takes a bite of the apple, and we show the apple animation. We can loop the animation until the next butterfly appears. Okay, that looks good. On to the next animation. This will be effect number 11. Let's zoom in on the butterfly and zoom in even more. And we can do another panning animation. Use F2 to record, and we can pan for a bit and then end on the center. And F2 to stop capturing. Okay, download effect number 11. Save that. Extract the files, and we're done with the zip file. Now we can figure out when to play this. Unpause and reset the transform so we can see everything. We can play this effect right when the bunny throws the apple core. We can play the butterfly 2 animation around 105 seconds. Copy the script for effect number 11 and add it to the end of the template. Save that and let's see how it looks. This time, let's watch the whole trailer start to finish. We see the first effect with the sky to grass transition. Next up is the stream effect. Effect 3 is the bird falling down. Effect 4, we see the title text, Big Buck Bunny. Effect 5 is the bunny face. When the bunny emerges, that's effect 6. And that's effect where we have the blue sky looking up at the face. We see effect number 7, that's when the flowers appear. We see effect number 8, that's when the first butterfly appears. We see effect 9 showing the trees when the butterfly is squashed by the apple. We see effect 10 when the bunny takes a bite of the apple. The apple effect loops while the bunny carries the apple. And the last effect, we see effect number 11. That's with butterfly 2 when the bunny throws the apple core. Alright, so there you go. That's the process for creating a Chroma enabled trailer. You can create Chroma enabled trailers for apps, games, or even movies. We started from a Chroma trailer template, and using the Chroma editor, we used the MP4 video of the trailer and created animations directly from that video. Animations can download from the editor and save right into the template. Using the Chroma editor, we automatically generate code snippets that go right into the trailer template. And the playback code is already part of the trailer copy script, which handles playing back the effects at the right time. Moving on. In this part of the session, I'll show you how to add Chroma to web pages so that it works in the browser. Okay, we'll be using the Chroma design templates. Just like before, we did a little bit of this with the design template and the trailer template. This time, we'll be using the website template, and I'll share my screen to begin. As we did before, you'll want to clone the Chroma design template and the Chroma common repositories. Make sure both have the same parent folder. I'll be using Node.js to host a local sandbox using Express. If you look at the Chroma design template folder, there's some scripts here that work with Node.js. The script install server command script will grab the node modules that you need to host the local server. And if you run the script open Chroma website script, that will use the server Node.js to locally host the site so that you can edit the template and see that in the browser. Okay, now run the script open Chroma website command script. With the web template open, I'll keep the Chroma emulator open so that you can see the Chroma lighting on my local hardware, which is being controlled by the template page. I have a bit of transparency on so we can see the page through the widgets. Okay, so here we have the sample web template. There's a section here for initializing Chroma. There's a section for the browser events. When we add Chroma animations to the page, we'll be using hover events, button click events, and the page has sample code for connecting Chroma to the scroll event. The quick links section has some common links. The page links to the Chroma design guide, the Chroma editor, and there's a link to the Chroma version, which I'll talk about in a second. The page also has two colors that are used to blend between based on the scroll amount of the page. In the Chroma scenario section, there are three cases that you run into when Chroma is added to a website. The first case impacts users that don't have Synapse installed. The second case happens when the user has an out-of-date version of Synapse. The third case happens when a user is up to date and they are ready to play Chroma. The page has a way to detect these three different scenarios, and that is where the Chroma version comes in. So when we click the Chroma version link, the version that comes back lets us know if the page can handle Chroma or not. If the user does not get a response, that user won't have the Synapse Chroma Connect module. If the response returns a version which is older than this version, the page knows Synapse is out of date. If the response matches this version, the page knows that the user is up to date. When you test your Chroma enabled page, there's a way to simulate these scenarios. To reproduce these scenarios, let's do the first case. We want to replicate that the user does not have Synapse installed. To do that, we can open up the services part of the Windows control panel. You can access Windows services by going to your start menu and enter services, and launch the services app, which is what you see here. Scroll down the list of services and find the Razer section. If we stop the Razer Chroma SDK server and the Razer Chroma SDK service, the web template won't be able to reach the Chroma REST API. That causes the page to think that Synapse is not installed. So if we go back to the web template and refresh, we can see the page try to query the version, but when that fails, the page knows that the SDK is not available. In this state, you don't want to play any Chroma effects because the user won't be able to see them. For the next two cases, the Razer services need to be running. You just select the services and click the play button to start each of the services. And right away the page can see that the SDK is returning the current version. If we refresh the page queries the version, and that matches the current version. And again, the page can see that Chroma is ready to use. To reproduce the case to show how the web page detects when the Chroma version is out of date, we can edit the web template code to trigger the out of date scenario. In the Chroma design template folder, you can find the script open VS Code command script, which I'll use to edit the template. You can use Notepad or your preferred HTML editor. When I run the script, it opens VS Code for this project. Here we have the template project and edit the Chroma_website HTML file. If we search for version, here we can see the detect Chroma SDK function, which checks the Chroma SDK version. To check against the current version at the time of this recording, we want to check for 3.1901. So 3.19 and then 1. Alright, so if we save that and refresh the page, we can see everything looks good because it matches the current version. If we change the last number in the version check from a 1 to a 2, that'll cause the page to fail on the version check. Because our version check is newer than the current version, we're in the second scenario. The page thinks our version of Synapse is out of date, and in this case the page can skip showing Chroma to the user when Synapse is out of date. I'll change that back to 1 to match the current SDK version, and now we can see that my SDK version is up to date. Now we're ready to play Chroma, and we're ready to start connecting Chroma to the page events. Okay, so the web template has events that we can hook up. The direction section is based on the direction that the mouse is moving. I can show how to hook up an arrow Chroma animation that will play in the direction that the mouse is moving. The page also has a div, which has a hover event. When the mouse is over the div, the page sets a static color to cyan. We can replace this with a Chroma animation to play for this event. Then we have this click me button, which changes the static color to blue. We can hook a Chroma animation to this button click event. For the color section, the page loops between 2 different colors. The page displays red at the top and green at the bottom of the page. And this is a page scroll event that you can add Chroma effects to. Okay, for the next thing, let's connect the mouse direction to the Chroma effects. When the direction changes, we can play an arrow animation in that direction. To set up the animation, switch to the Chroma editor. In part of the templates in the images subfolder, you'll find an arrow PNG file that you can click and drag to the Chroma editor and drop in the drag and drop control. As long as the editor uses the HTTPS protocol that allows the drag and drop control to work, that will auto switch to the image input and we can capture animations from the image. Clicking and dragging on the capture area will transform the capture image. And the general idea is we can drag the arrow to the left and capture the arrow image with it scaled up. Okay, let's name the animation arrow left. We can press F2 to start the capture and pan the arrow to the left. And as it nears the end of the shaft, we can press F2 to stop the capture. And we can download this animation into the animation subfolder within the Chroma Design template folder. And save that. Now we're ready to do the right arrow. You can mouse click and hit R to rotate, or we can just enter the rotation. In this case, we can enter 180 degrees. We can name this next animation arrow right. We can click and drag to transform the image into the starting position. Hit F2 to record and pan to the right. After the arrow clears the capture area, hit F2 to stop recording. Download the animation set and save that. For the next animation, we can call it arrow up. We can switch the rotation to 90 degrees to point up and do the same kind of thing. We position the arrow and hit F2 to record. Pan the arrow up, and after the arrow clears the capture area, hit F2 to stop recording. Download the animation set and save that. We have one animation left. Enter arrow down, enter 270 degrees for the rotation, and the arrow is now pointed down. Place the arrow in the starting position and hit F2 to record. Pan the arrow down, and when the arrow clears the capture area, hit F2 to stop recording. Download the animation set and save that. For now, we're done with the editor. Switch back to the web template. You'll notice as we switch between the editor and the template, the pages already have the built-in code to handle the browser focus. If we switch to the version page, which doesn't have Chroma, the web template page loses focus and ends the Chroma session. You can see in the emulator that the effect colors go to black when the Chroma session ends. When we switch back to the web template, the Chroma session gets reinitialized, and now we can see the page is displaying Chroma again. Okay, now let's add the new animations to the page and connect the direction events. I downloaded the animation sets to the animation subfolder. We can extract the animations from these zip files. I use 7-zip to extract the files, and you can use your extract tool of choice. With 7-zip, use right-click on a zip file and select Extract here. Extract the contents of each of the animation sets and then delete the zip files because we're done with them. Now that we have the animations extracted, we can use them from the page events. So let's hook up the down animation first, and in the Chroma editor we want to switch to the web mode. We then click Copy Script, and that will generate the playback code for the arrow down animation. If we scroll to the end of the web template, there's a section for auto-generated content goes here. We paste in the code just right after that comment. And that auto-generated the playback code for keypad, mouse, mousepad, headset, Chroma Link, and keyboard. So let's also copy the playback code for the other animations. We also want the arrow left code, so enter that name and copy the script. Paste in the script at the end. We also want the arrow right script, so enter that name and copy the script. Paste the script at the end. And for arrow up, same thing. Enter the name, copy the script, and paste it at the end of the template. So now that we have all the playback code, we need to play the arrow animation. So now let's connect these animations to the page events. We'll be using the effect name show arrow right, so we can copy that name to the clipboard to use next. And if we search for right as a string, we can find the mouse direction page events. So here we have the page events for body on mouse move. And in the case where the mouse is over the page, left, right, up, and down, instead of showing a static color, we can replace that with the arrow effect. We can replace that with a call to play effect and pass the arrow effect, so we can use show arrow left as the argument. We can do the same thing for the right direction. Instead of the static color, we can call play effect and pass show arrow right as the effect. We make the same change for the up and down directions and save the changes. So let's refresh the page. When we move the mouse to the left, we can see the left animation. Moving the mouse right on the page plays the right animation. Moving down on the page plays the down animation. Moving up plays the up animation. So that works. But these animations are running a little bit slow. We can speed things up. If we look at the effect code, it's calling reduce frames, which is removing every second frame, and that's called twice. We can do that 3 or 4 times to speed up the effect. So we're going to make a lot of these reduce frame changes, so it makes sense to put it in its own function, so we can control the speed all in one place. Make a function called setupArrowEffect, and it will take the name of the layer. The setup will call reduce frames 4 times on the base layer. Each call removes every second frame, which makes the animation run faster. And now setupArrowEffect will be called in each effect instead of reduce frames. That way all the devices will have the same timings and we can edit that in one place. SetupArrowEffect takes an argument of the base layer. Now we make the same change for the rest of the effects. Save that and reload the page. The speed is looking good. One thing here is that the animations are looping, and I'd rather have the direction play just once. We can make a quick change to the play animation loop argument. By default, the auto-generated code has loop set to true. We can just search and replace and set that to false. Use edit replace to find play animation base layer true, and replace all with play animation base layer false, false for the loop argument. And now the effects will adjust the speed and play the arrow direction just one time. Save that, refresh the page, and now we can see the arrow animation plays one time, as long as I stop moving the mouse. And that's the effect I was going for. The other effects are still compatible, so the div, when the mouse is over hover me, it can still set the static color, and when the mouse goes back to the body outside of that div, the page plays the arrow direction and can switch between those two effects. The direction animations play anytime the mouse is moving outside the hover and button area. And the scroll effect still works. Okay, so now let's use the editor and create 3 more animations that we can use for hover, click, and scroll. I'll use a snaky image and drag that to the editor to use with the capture. For the hover effect, I'll pan on the snaky eyes. I'll name the animation hover, and I use F2 to record, and I'll pan in a circle motion and hit F2 to stop recording. Download and save that, and then we copy the hover script. Paste the hover script after the last effect in the web template. We also want to do a click animation, so enter that name. For this one it'll be a spinning animation. So hit F2 to record, and rotate around with the rotate transform tool, and hit F2 to stop recording. Download and save that. Copy the script, and we'll paste that at the end of the template. Okay, and we also want a scroll animation. Enter the scroll name, And for this animation, I'll use the snaky body with the scales. Hit F2 to record, and we'll pan across the scales, and hit F2 to stop recording. Download the animation set and copy the script. Again, paste at the end of the effects section. Okay, for the button, there's the button click me on click function. We can replace setting the static color with the click animation. Instead of the static effect, we can call play effect and pass the show click effect. For the hover effect, there's a document body on mouse move function, and if the event target is the div hover me, we can replace the static color section with the hover animation. We can call play effect and pass the show hover effect. Save that, and now we need to extract the animations in the animation subfolder. Extract the contents of click, hover, and scroll. After extracting, the zip files can be deleted. And refresh the page. Now we can see when we hover the hover me div, that starts playing the hover animation. When the mouse is moving over on hover, the page keeps restarting the animation. If I stop moving the mouse, that lets the animation continue playing. We could use the API to only reset after the animation finishes playing, but I'll leave that for now. As soon as we move the mouse to the gray area, that switches to the arrow animation, and clicking on the button plays the click animation, which displays that rotating animation. For the next effect, we want scrolling to play an animation. And in the web template, there's a function called update div scroll color. This sets the color for the div and sets a static color. Instead of setting a static color, we can call play effect and pass the show scroll effect. Save that, refresh the page, and now the animation plays the scroll effect. We can also apply the color to the scroll animation. We can do that by taking the get scroll percent and lerp color lines here. We will use this in show scroll effects. We can apply the color to the base layer by using the API. We can call Chroma animation multiply intensity color all frames, which takes the base layer and color to tint the animation. Let's take our code and put that into a function and call it setup scroll animation, which will take the layer. The function reduces the frames like before, and then uses the scroll percentage and lerps between the two colors. That color gets applied to the layer using the API. Each of the show scroll effects needs to call the setup scroll animation function and pass the base layer. Make that change to each device in the device set, and one more change in the setup scroll animation where the color needs to apply the change to the layer. Save that and refresh the page, and now you can see the scroll amount color is being applied to the animation. And now we have Chroma animations on all of the web template page events. Okay, so what you've seen so far are just sample effects on the web template. These were just some sample things that you can do. The web template has static placeholders for div hover events, button click events, and scroll events. There's a ton of browser events and UI controls that you can hook Chroma events and animations to. Okay, so that was a little bit about how to use Chroma on the web. That's the end of this session, and thanks for watching. Next up, we have more partner content. Unreal Hero is a master of Synapse Chroma Studio profiles and will show how to preview profiles on websites. Hero Shin will talk about what it's like to stream Chroma over Twitch. And I'll be seeing you again in the live Chroma Q&A.
Hi there, I'm Unreal Hero and I run a YouTube channel called Unreal Hero where I show you guys how to make custom Razer Chroma keyboard lighting designs. I also run a website called unrealhero.com where you guys can also find these tutorials as well as download links to download all of my Razer Chroma profile designs onto your Razer compatible devices. And lately I've been using the Razer Chroma SDK capabilities to provide my audience with the ability to preview my designs before they go and download them. Here's how I do it. Using Razer's web-based Chroma editor, as well as using the virtual camera on OBS, I'm able to overlay devices on top of my Razer Synapse Studio device window. I then use the Chroma editor to record the lighting that is going on within my Synapse Studio window. After doing the recording, I can hit the download button and save all of these lighting animations into a folder. Once I have these animations saved, I can locate my HTML files through my host service for my WordPress website. All I do is locate my animations folder and upload these animations to that folder. I'm then able to add a very easy iframe HTML code into my posts. This creates a very convenient little image on my website post where if you hover over it with your mouse, you're able to see the preview of the design before you even download it. I can't explain how much I like this feature, and it's taken the user experience on my website to the next level. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Hello, I'm Hiroshin. My friends call me Hiro for short. I stream a mobile game called Summoner's Wars while using Razer's Chroma broadcasting on Twitch. Now, I'm sure you can see the nanoleaf panels behind me, and this beautiful piece of art here we have next to us. Streaming while using Razer Chroma broadcasting software has been an experience like no other. It has changed the way I see colors and how they help us connect with our communities on a visual level, no matter what the content may be. It could be squatting up with friends in Apex, taking on real-time strategy in the Summoner's Wars Sky Arena, or simply just chatting with the pack. With Chroma Broadcast, we have the ability to put our viewers in the passenger seat right next to us visually by using the expression of color through our Razer tech. It could be in the pit of battle, scrimmaging low on health, blinking red while looking for one health pack to give us that sense of relief, taking us off the edge of our seat, or simply gaining that long-awaited victory celebration of confetti colors for conquering the dungeon that we've been trying at for hours on end. This is of course accompanied with a little victory dance with our friends. Of course, there's my favorite. I pair Chroma Broadcaster with OBS and Lumia to allow my chat to control the mood or vibe of events that occur during the stream by letting them change the color of the nanoleaf panels or the PC. We even go as far as letting each viewer create their own introduction by simply using a command followed by their name. It's an intro dedicated to each viewer that is displayed with color and music to say hello, I've entered the chat, which isn't only happening on my screen, but everyone else's Chroma tech at home has the same interaction. No matter if you're a developer, gamer, chatter, artist, musician, the Razer Chroma broadcasting software has endless capabilities that can be unique to any community, and the best part is, it's a simple setup. Download Razer Synapse from Razer.com and use the pre-built color commands or go as far to use your own custom colors and configurations. Sad to say it, my friends, but my time is up. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Don't forget to come and follow and check out the pack and I's Chroma broadcast on twitch.tv/Hiroshin. Have a good day and happy chromaing. Bye guys.
Thank you, Tim. So there you have it. By now, I'm sure you've learned how to develop and integrate and implement all sorts of immersive lighting effects on your respective games, applications, and websites. Razer Chroma SDK allows you to interact with your devices in more ways than ever before. And we're super excited to have you guys on our development platform. The Razer Chroma SDK and all respective documentation can be found on the Razer Developer Portal. And if you have any more burning questions, we have a Q&A session starting soon. See you over there. Thank you.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to the second Q&A session of the day. This time, we're going to discuss all things Chroma. Again, I'm Justin Cooney, Global Director of Business Development and Partnerships here at Razer, and along with me is Tim Graupmann, Lead Software Engineer. So with that said, let's jump into the questions. First question is from Anthony Ball. I made a plugin for Chroma and can address keyboard, mouse, headset, mousepad, keyboard, and Chroma Link lights. Will things like case fans, etc. be added soon? Yes, we already have case fans and other peripheral devices included and supported within the Chroma ecosystem. Currently, we're at over 50 partners and over 1,000 different products that respond to the Chroma commands. So we have you covered, and that will be continuing to expand over the coming months and years. Next question is from Michael Heilman. I would like to see the Space Key have more LEDs to make scrolling effects more viable. Is this something that you plan on investigating and or supporting? Great recommendation. Well, that's something that we can't make commitments or comment on at this time. We will certainly let the team, the engineering team know your request, and we'll see if they can make that happen for you. But great request. Next question comes from Luke Peacock. Is it possible, feasible to have Chroma devices react in real time to audio, video, gameplay, etc. during movies and music? So I'll hand it over to Tim to answer.
Right. Okay. So yeah, that's totally possible. The maximum refresh rate that you can use is 30 frames a second. And yeah, so that goes back to the game loop sample where you can directly, the question went away, but you can directly access and yeah, you can do that.
Fair enough. Eris belongs. Is there any effort going into Razer Chroma for Linux? I can say that, one, we just can't comment at this time. We always are looking at new platforms and operating systems and things like that. But once we have something ready to announce, we will definitely let everybody know. But great question. Thank you. Next question is, are there any Chroma devices that aren't Razer? Absolutely. Again, we have over 50 Razer partners that are part of our Razer ecosystem, including folks like MSI, Yeelight, who's one of our sponsors, Philips Hue for the room lights, AMD, Thermaltake, the list goes on and on and on. So I think we have that covered, and we're always continuing to expand our ecosystem and our partners into the ecosystem. Thank you. Next question is from Jorge Povada Coma. Is there a limit to the number of frames per second that the Chroma devices support? I think this is something that Tim just answered, but I'll hand over to Tim to verify.
Right. Yep. So the max is 30 frames a second, and that's across all the device categories.
Perfect. Is Razer planning any types of grants for indie devs supporting Razer equipment? We are always working on ways to help our partners both integrate and promote their games that support Razer Chroma. So while there isn't anything that we can answer specifically today to that question, rest assured we are looking at ways to make our partnership program more valuable, and we will have announcements coming out later this year with that regards. Next question comes from Andrew Gomez. Is there a way or a plan for Stream Games to recognize that local peripherals and render Chroma effects, or does it only work with games that run locally? Tim?
Okay, so is there a way for Stream Games to... Now this could be talking about cloud gaming, or it could be just like somebody's playing locally and they're streaming their game events. So we don't have support for cloud gaming yet, but for the streaming, we do have a Twitch extension. So that'll detect your local Chroma events and broadcast that across to Twitch so that people watching on Twitch will have the same Chroma effects that you're playing locally. So we'll add a link to that.
Excellent. Great. Next question is from Anthony Ball. Why do all your examples show pre-sequenced animations? It gives the wrong impression. Chroma easily supports fully dynamic animations created on the fly. So I guess not a comment more than, not a question more than a comment, but Tim?
Right. Okay. So the pre-canned stuff is because we're using the authoring tools to generate those effects, and you can totally do Chroma animations dynamically, doing, setting your colors and arrays and that sort of things. It's just easy to see visually when you see the little video clips and you see the associated animations. You can see what's possible, and you can totally script that.
Excellent. As a developer who uses a custom game engine, what would you recommend as the best method for creating custom Chroma animations?
Okay, so the tools save to a universal format for the Chroma animations, and those are interchangeable across the websites, across the authoring tools and the engines. So even if you're in a custom one, you can just take the animations directly from the editors and pop those right in.
Excellent. Next question comes from Victor Borges. Will there ever be an Unreal Engine Chroma FX Maker plugin?
Right. So there's a way to get that functionality without making a native plugin for Unreal, and that's I use the web Chroma editor in combination with the OBS virtual camera, so I can connect it as a virtual camera, which desktop records. And in that case, I can just show Unreal and capture from the game or capture from like any of the existing particle animations or assets that are in the Unreal Marketplace or from your game, and you can use that as content for authoring and then put those animations in your game. So you don't need a native FX maker. You can just use Unreal itself and do those kind of things in the editor.
Excellent. Next question is, can we see in the future a Razer Isker RGB enabled product? We have nothing to announce at this time. We love the idea that people want to have Chroma in more and more of their devices, and as not only fans, but we work at Razer, we would love to see things like that too. There's just nothing that we can announce at this time. Next question comes into from Victor again. Will Razer do a game showcase this summer highlighting those that have integrated Chroma? Great question. We are always looking for ways to promote our partners who integrate Chroma. We do promote these already on social, either dedicated post during a month, or at the end of the month we do a dedicated post that covers all the titles that have Razer Chroma. We look to showcase games at events. We look to incorporate them into other marketing activities that we have going on at any given time. So I would really recommend just keeping in touch with your Razer representative, and we will work to make sure that we get you as much exposure as we can. Next question comes from Rafael Piera. Besides video games, can we expect to see Razer Chroma embedded in other everyday apps and services? Tim?
Right. So the SDK supports apps and games. It's not specific for games, so you can do Chroma in apps or games. So it's ready to go. And
so
when
really,
you initialize, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so really the limit comes down to the application developers themselves. That we provided all the tools and capabilities that they can add it to anything really that comes to their mind.
And then on the technical side, when you initialize Chroma, there's a flag in there where you specify whether it's an app or a game, and that controls where it shows up in Synapse. So there's a little flag in there.
Excellent. Next question. Will we see more and more mini games playable right on Razer Chroma devices?
I think that might be talking about like the snake mini game. So you can have the snake showing on the keyboard, and it responds to what keys you're pressing. And you can totally do that as an app or even a website. So people would just go to the website and they could play your little mini game, and that's going to work on the hardware.
Perfect. Next question is, which programming languages are planned to be initially supported?
Well, we have a lot that goes back to the developer portal. So if you go to the Chroma session and SDK downloads, you'll see all the available programming languages there. So we've got the common ones there for C++, Unreal, Unity. There's Lua, ClickTeam Fusion. Some community developers have added support for Gitaros. And again, just look at the developer portal. If you don't see your engine there, you can work with us and we can add support for your engine.
Awesome, great. Next question comes in from Gabriel. What is the best way to announce our Chroma integrations so that our games have a chance to get featured by Razer? Another great question. The recommendation really is to work with your account rep here at Razer so that we can identify whatever marketing opportunities that we have available at that time and work to get you integrated into those. Again, it could be social posts. It could be participating in our monthly Razer Store live streams. It could be live physical events once they're back. The opportunities just vary from day to day, week to week, and month to month. Next question is, does Chroma work across all genres of games? And I'll answer that. And the answer is yes. Really, the limitation of Chroma is simply the creativity from the designers and developers of the games and applications themselves. from a technical perspective, Chroma can do just so much to add to the immersion level of games. And that really tends to not be the limitation on what you can do and what you can't do. Next question comes in from Michael Howman. It would be nice to have an auto scale screen to map the different devices rather than manually, and be easier to make effects based on what is the screen. Do you have any feedback on that, Tim?
Yeah, it sounds a little bit like the ambient awareness effect, and that's part of the C++ Core Chroma sample app. So if you take a look at there, that has the sample Windows code to sample the screen. And you could totally make an app that lets you select a certain portion of the screen and sample it like you're talking about.
Excellent. The next question I will just let you read, but really it's all about, is it possible to subdivide the categories in the C# sample app?
Right. Okay, so it's got a lot of Chroma link in there. And so you can set the RGB to Chroma link as just a category itself, or if you want to specifically address those devices, you can create custom effects based on their device GUID. And so that's the way to do it. So you can control individual devices separately and control the lighting through the API.
Excellent. Next question comes from Gabriel. Which Razer keyboard is recommended to test their Chroma integrations? There really isn't a default keyboard that we recommend. A lot of times it really just comes down to preference on the developer side as to which keyboard they like using on a daily basis and to use for the testing. Myself, I use Huntsman to do my tests. Others use the Black Widow series for theirs. It really comes down to personal preference in some cases.
And then the Black Widow has the extra macro keys, and it's full size and has the numpad. So if you used a tournament edition without the numpad, you wouldn't see the numpad effects. So go for the full size keyboards.
There we go. Next question comes in from PTX Sean. Will Chroma be able to support content creators like the Sushi Dragon who are visual DJs? Right now the visuals start and stop at the monitor only.
Right, so that's kind of like audio visualizer. So audio visualizer apps. And I started on like an open source project for Ableton. So if you're a DJ and you want to control your lighting on your music tracks, you can work with me to make the visuals look good and work for your project.
Excellent. So at the end of the day, if you need help with things like that, by all means, go to our developer portal and reach out to our internal developers, and we will help you with those types of issues. Next question comes from Rob at VoiceMod. Chroma effects are very impressive when linked to screen visuals. Have you investigated or seen development linking Chroma with audio?
Right, that's like within Synapse, we have the Chroma visualizer that lets you play, it synchronizes the audio with your Chroma effects. So there's that, and then also in the community guides, there's a link to other developers that have done similar projects with audio visualization.
Excellent. Next question comes from Jorge again. Is there an official place to raise technical, i.e. code level questions about the Chroma SDK?
Yes, that's the developer portal contact form. So you can use that to message us and get connected, and we'll address your issues.
Yeah, absolutely. We're always available. Are there any plans to broaden the Chroma range and have Sonos integration? Great question, Benoit. That is something that we can't announce anything at this time. But as I mentioned before, we're always looking for other partners, not just on the software side, but also on the hardware side to join our Chroma Connect ecosystem. So we will take that note down and see what we can do. We appreciate that. Next question comes from Anonymous. Can I do a web page with lots of game characters that play Chroma animations when specific characters are selected?
Right, so that goes back to that the last session where it was showing the divs and the hovers and the scroll type stuff. And so you can have a web page where you're not limited by the number of divs. So you can have and it doesn't have to be a div, it can be a span or whatever, but you can have multiple characters on the screen. And Again, you can use the same way that I bound the hover animations and click animations to those sections. And you can also reuse the animations that you're playing for each character and use the API to colorize each one to be more distinct if you wanted. So yeah, so the short answer is you're not limited by the number of characters on your page. Add as many as you want and add more chroma. That'd be great.
Nice. Next question comes from Justin. Oh, it disappeared. Next question comes from Anonymous, from Raphael. Will Razer have more Chroma compatible browsers support such as Vivaldi? Tim, do you have any insight into that?
Well, so we've got the web JavaScript library, so that could be used for any browser, whether they want to add the integration on the web page or whether they want to do a native integration using the C++ APIs and those sort of plugins. Like you can get the Chromium source, and if you wanted to embed that directly into Chrome, you could use those plugins to do that.
Excellent. So the tools are there. We have nothing to announce from an official partnership and support perspective at this time, though. Perfect. Next question is from Dark Cheese. Will it be easy for small groups of developers to make custom animations?
Yeah, for sure. So that's why I have the web Chroma editor. So there's nothing to download. You just go to a web page and you can author animations directly. So you saw I was capturing from video clips, but you can also use images, or you can even switch it to your webcam and like do gestures in front of your camera and capture that as video. And also combined with OBS, you can do desktop capture and bring in content from like live YouTube video or the Unity and Unreal editors that you're used to.
Next question comes in from Chris. Any chance of expanding the library of games that support custom Chroma layouts, such as Apex Legends?
Can you repeat that one? It disappeared right as I glanced at it.
No worries. Any chance of expanding the library of games that support custom Chroma layouts, such as Apex Legends?
Okay. So that could mean expanding the library of games that support custom layouts. That could be talking about the Synapse profiles, like Chroma Studio profiles, in which case they could submit those. Or it might just be talking about adding more games that support Chroma, in which case we always want to do that.
Right. When it comes to native integrations, we're always working with developers and partners to add Chroma integration. When it comes down to Synapse, users are free to create the profiles that they want to go with the games that they want. But with that said, we still have a lot of question and answer, which we will get to after the event, but we've run out of time for this Q&A session. So I want to thank everyone again for attending the session and submitting the questions. I want to thank our sponsors, Devolver Digital, Gearbox Entertainment, IGDA, Modern Wolf, Tripwire, Microsoft Xbox, Xzola, and Yeelight. Stay tuned for some awesome THX spatial audio discussions. And with that said, on to the next.